Hey, hello there guys, Proxence here, and welcome to the top 5 video on the top 5 things that I'm excited about in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So for those who don't know, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an upcoming Nintendo game for the Nintendo Switch. It's the next installment in the Legend of Zelda franchise, and personally I think it's an amazing game and I'm really excited for it. But in this video I'm going to be going through the top 5 things that I'm most excited about for the game. So without further ado, let's get a move on over to number 5. So in at number 5 is the ability to customize your armor in the game. So as was seen in one of the trailers, you actually have the ability to get some pretty awesome armor. I mean, it shows Link in a full suit of metal armor, and the suit looks amazing, and it looks like it'll probably be really good against attacks and anything like that. But it just shows that you have a large variety in the possibilities of your armor, and it likely means that there are pieces of armor that are going to be a lot better in certain situations than other pieces of armor. And this is actually kind of apparent when you see Link in a cold area of the game. You can see him shivering, which shows that you probably need some sort of armor or clothing that is better suited for the environment. And maybe if you go to like a warm area, like a desert or something, he probably won't be wearing a full metal suit because that'll be pretty hot to wear, because, you know, it's kind of hot in the desert. So I don't think it's the most opportune clothing to wear in that biome. And also another thing is that it's very likely that you might be able to get some super powerful armor from a boss fight or something. And when you think about that, that's pretty cool, because you could get like this super powerful armor. It might be an end game thing, like maybe once you fight the final boss you'll be able to get that and then you'll just be able to roam around the game with it. Or maybe it's like a one-time thing where you can only use it in the boss fight, like the final boss fight. I don't know. At this point it's just ideas. But if something like that actually happens, where you get some super powerful piece of armor and you're able to just use it for awesome stuff, that would be pretty awesome. Because, you know, it'd be powerful and you probably wouldn't lose a fight as easily as you normally would. You probably still have a good chance of losing though. But yeah, I'm generally very excited about this just because of the possibilities in your choice of armor. Like, you can be the character who just doesn't wear any armor, and hey, that might work out in the end. Or you can wear the normal tunic, or just go all out and get the best armor in the game. Anyways, let's get a move on to number 4. In at number 4 are the bosses of the games. So it's not just the bosses themselves that I am excited for, it's the whole concept around them and everything that you can do around them. But first off, I just want to mention, from the bosses that we've seen in trailers up till now, I'm pretty sure all of them look amazing. I mean, like, if you're looking on screen right now, you can see some of the bosses that we've seen in trailers so far, and they look absolutely amazing. I mean, I am very excited to fight these bosses, because they look like they're going to be fun. They're probably going to be challenging, like most bosses, but I really like the design to them, and they just look like very interesting bosses. And another thing I want to mention is that these bosses seem to have a general theme to them that follows a general theme of the area around them. For example, the boss on screen right now, it's some sort of creature. I'm not exactly sure what it is as of right now, but it looks like a desert creature, and the area it's in is a desert of sorts. So I like that. I like how the area it's in actually sort of represents what the boss is. And I mean, I'm not saying that that hasn't happened before. Up till now, there has been bosses that have completely followed the theme of the dungeon they're in, but it's interesting to note this, since they're not exactly in a dungeon. It's outside in an open area, and it's interesting. It's interesting, like, when you consider that they're sort of stepping away from the boss being inside the dungeon, and it's going outside more so. And actually, I'm not even sure that this is a full boss like a normal boss. It might be some sort of mini boss, but either way, it's still a boss, and either way, it's still not like it's been up till now, because up till now, you'd still fight some mini bosses inside dungeons and not outside of them, so yeah. Let's move on to number 3. In at number 3 are the cutscenes of the game. So the main reason I am really excited for this is because they're gonna have voice acting in the cutscenes, which is awesome. They've never had that in any other Legend of Zelda game up till now, and the fact that they're doing it is actually amazing, because now that you're able to give the characters a voice because you know what they sound like, you get to know them better, and they develop more as a character across the game, and I really like that, because if the character develops more across the game, it's good, and it's great just when that happens, because you just know that character more, and it just makes the overall story of the game a lot better than it would have been without having like voice acting or something like that for the character. So I am very excited about that, and also the cutscenes look amazing. I mean, if the cutscenes looks like if they look like the cutscenes that we've seen in the trailers so far, assuming that those are cutscenes, they are going to be amazing, because though cutscenes that I think are cutscenes in the trailers look absolutely phenomenal. So if it looks like that or remotely similar, I am going to be very, very happy. Anyways, let's move on to number 2. In at number 2 is the overall size of the game. So if you guys didn't know, this game is massive. It's bigger than any of the other like Legend of Zelda games that have come out to now, and it's also a lot bigger than Skyrim, and Skyrim was huge. And the fact that this is bigger than Skyrim is insane, because it's just like, oh, you're probably never gonna finish stuff because the game is so massive. And actually, in an interview with Miyamoto and Aonuma, one of them mentioned that it's actually impossible to 100% the game. So yeah, it really goes to show how massive the game is, and it shows that there is like enough content in the game for you to do where you pretty much can't really do it all because there is so much stuff to do. And also, this is amazing because it's like, hey, you might finish the story of the game, but you can still explore the world and see what else it has to offer. Or you might just want to explore the world and see what it has to offer before you finish the game. Doesn't really matter, but still, there's like a bunch of stuff that you can do, which makes the game really awesome, and it's just really fun to be able to get into a game that doesn't really finish, you know? You can constantly do stuff in it, so you can constantly explore, you can constantly find new areas, and you can meet new characters in the game and have new adventures without having to worry that you're never gonna have any more adventures, because the game is huge. So you'll just be like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then you're like, oh, wow, I can do this and this and this as well, and many more things. Anyways, let's move on to number 1. In at number 1 is the overall beauty of the game. So the game itself looks amazing. And it's not just the game, I mean everything in it. The design of the characters looks great, the design of the terrain, like the grass, the mountains, water, it all looks amazing, and it looks like something that they put a ton of time and effort into perfecting in order to make sure that it looked the best it possibly could. And even the graphics of the game look amazing, despite them not being 4K or super high resolution like I know is popular nowadays. They still look great. I'm pretty sure that people have been mentioning that it's only 900p, even though it does look a little bit higher detail than that, more so 1080p-ish, but still, despite it being a low resolution in comparison to like Xbox or PlayStation resolutions, it still looks like an amazing game, and that's mainly due to the art style that was followed, since it looks very nice. The shading on it is very clean, the way they implemented everything into the game with that art style looks amazing, and it truly does add to the game where it looks beautiful despite it not being super high resolution. And I guess that's it for the top 5 things I'm excited for in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye everybody.